Hey guys, and welcome to Knit. In today's video we're going to go over how to make these really cute Amigurumi narwhals. They're essentially the same pattern as my whale, but my whale video went out of screen and out of focus a lot, so I'm going to redo how to do the entire whale pattern on here on my channel. And I'm going to show you how to add this additional little narwhal. This was a request a lot on that video, so I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of a horn to add on top of your whale to create a narwhal, however you want to say it. I made 4 already in this really cute, I've got polyfill everywhere because it's just insidious. I've got 4 of them right here. I'm also going to do it in this cute little mint color. So these little guys are just going to hang out in the background, and I'm going to make it in this really pretty minty color. For this project you will need worsted weight yarn. I'm using this cute minty color in Vanna's Choice and this really pretty white color in Vanna's Choice. When I'm doing small amigurumi, I like to use Vanna's Choice specifically for my yarn. I know that it's silly, but I find that I like how my amigurumi looks all bubbly and poppy when I use it. I'm also going to be using a darning needle, some polyfill, and your hook that you're going to use. I use a Susan Bates, is a D3 in US terms, or 3.25 millimeter, which I don't know what that is in other terms, but in US terms it's 3.25 or D3. You will also need some 9 to 12 millimeter safety eyes. They should have little backings if you want to have them be a little bit safer. You can also easily just use some fabric paint if you're interested in using fabric paint, just to make it more baby safe. Put little X's over the eyes, or just make a circle with the fabric paint. That would be really cute as well. To begin this project, you're going to have to make a slip knot. I have a more in-depth video on how to do a slip knot down in my channel, down in the description. I will show you how to do that, but essentially you're just taking your tail and you're crossing it over your working yarn, which is the yarn that's attached to your yarn ball, and you're going to pull through the center and create this cute little slip knot. I put that and I place it right on my crochet hook. I kind of cheat in the way that I do my magical ring, in that I do just 2 chains. The way that we chain is going to be a little bit different for some people, because I actually work with my yarn going from left to right instead of from right to left. Most people do it this way and just pull through. I personally just like pulling like that, and then I do that twice for 2 chains. The way that I turn this into a magical ring is essentially I'm going to go into the very first chain that we made, like so, going into the very first chain, and I single crochet into this chain and only this chain. I'm going to put 6 single crochet inside of this 1 chain right here, skipping the second chain that I had created. So that's 1, I go back inside the very same stitch, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through, pulling left to right. You might get confused and go from right to left. That's fine. If that's how you crochet, that's fine. I just do it this way because I find that the stitches look a little bit more bubbly when it comes to my crochet. So that's 3 stitches inside the same stitch, and you're going to be looking at this chain and going, oh, this is going to get wider and wider and wider. That's the slip knot doing its work. And that's what I mean by it's a magical ring, because it's adjustable, essentially. It's an adjustable ring. So that's 4, go back in, 5, wrap, 6, wrap, go through. Now, you've got a giant hole here. Don't worry, all you have to do is tug on your tail, like so, and loose it like that, and it will close right up. Next, we're going to place an increase in each and every one of our stitches going around. So we have 6 stitches, and our goal with increasing every single stitch is to go from 6 to 12. We're doubling our stitches. So we're going to go back into the very first single crochet that we made right here and go, oh, it's going to be a little bit tight because we're using a tiny hook. We're going to go inside that very first chain there, our first single crochet, not chain, first single crochet there, and we're going to place 2 single crochet inside of that very first stitch. So 1, and then I put a second one in the very same one. 2. I'm going to do that again for the next stitch. So I go in once, single crochet, I find my same stitch, go back in, single crochet, and then I keep doing that all the way around. So now I'm on my third stitch out of 6 and placing 2 inside. This is called an increase, and they're wicked quick and easy. They look hard, but I promise you they're not. So we're going to go back inside that fourth stitch here and place 1, and then go back inside that same fourth stitch and place another stitch. We're placing 2 stitches in each one. So now we're on our 5th stitch, 1, go back into the 5th stitch, 2. Final stitch, 1, final stitch, 2. So now I'm going to pull my tail again just to make sure it's nice and tight. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can count your stitches by counting the V's along the side of your work. V, 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 all the way down, and then you should have 12 of those. So now that we've done that, we're going to increase another 6 stitches. The way that we do that is by single crocheting into this stitch and then increasing into the next. So we're going to single crochet 1, increase, single crochet 1, increase, all the way around. And the way that I like to show where my marker is, most people actually buy markers. I don't even bother with that. I'm going to take my tail that's just chilling out over here, and I'm going to pull it through this final stitch, my final increase stitch on my second row. Now I can see and I can keep track of where my stitches are supposed to be. So now we're going to go into our very first stitch of our round 3, and we're going to single crochet just 1. That one does not need an increase, it's just that one. Next we're going to go into the second stitch and we're going to increase. So that's 1, going back into that same, not splitting my yarn, stitch. We're going to go in there and make another stitch right there. So you can see there's 1, 2, within that one piece there. So now we're going to go again, 1, next one, 2. One, 2, or 1, increase. So there's 2 stitches in that, 1, increase. And then finally, this is our last one. This is our 6th time that we've increased, 1, and now increase. I like to move my tail, so I'll pull that out from being there, that my marker is no longer from my new round. It's going to be going through this final increase. I put my stitch, I put my hook right through there, and then I pull my tail through, so that way it shows that we are now on round 4. It doesn't show that we're on round 4, but it shows where your round starts. And we're going to continue the pattern of increasing 6 stitches. We're going to go from 18 stitches to 24, which means we're going to increase another 6. And now instead of single crocheting 1 increase, we're going to single crochet 2 and then increase. You're essentially creating an extra space between each increase the farther and farther out that you go. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then third stitch we're going to increase. We're going from 18 stitches to 24. 1, 2, increase. So there's now multiple stitches there. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. And then finally we're on our last increase round, repetition. 1, 2, increase on this piece. Again, I'm going to move my tail forward, so I'm going to go through this stitch, pull out my tail from where it was, and I'm going to pull it through. And now we only have one more increase round after this. We're going to go from 24 to 30 stitches, which is all we're going to be doing for increasing to get it to the size that we want. You want a bigger narwhal. You could easily do this by just continuing to increase outward in the same repetition by just adding an extra space each time as you go further out and out, if that makes any sense. If you're interested, if you'd be interested in a like large amigurumi narwhal, let me know. I can post a video on that, and let me know down below if that would be something that you're interested in, because I actually saw one that was really cute and I'm interested in making it. Alright, so we're gonna go, and instead of having just 1, 2 and then increasing on the third, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 and increase on the fourth. So we're continuing to increase 6 stitches each round. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. You'll notice when you increase, especially as you get further out more and more, you'll notice that your increases line up each time. So you should be increasing what looks like over the second stitch of the increase from the previous round. So, and it'll eventually, you'll be able to tell where your increases are, because it's kind of starts, before you round it out, it looks like a little bit of a corner on each side, because you're essentially making 6 corners for this piece. So 1, 2, 3, and then increase for on the fourth stitch. 1, 2, 3, increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. So now I take my tail and I weave it through the last stitch of my last decrease again, just to move it along, and I keep moving it forward and forward to show where I am. And from here, we're going to just single crochet around for 4 rounds. So we're just going to go over each and every single one of these stitches once for 4 rounds. So you're going to pass this 4 times. You're going to pass this stitch marker right here 4 times. So you just keep going around and around and around, and then I'll show you how I do my tail, and then I'll show you how I change over onto its little white belly. Super easy. The way that I do it, I don't end up doing too much added on for stitch work, so I'll show you how I do that after I get 4 rounds done for this. I'll be right back. Alright, so now I've gone around 4 times. You can tell 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm now going to start working into the 5th round from, so this will be my number 10th round? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th round. On your 9th round, you're going to make your tail real quick. You're not going to go around the entire thing, but what I like to do is I'm going to go into the very first stitch from my 9th round. I'm going to slip stitch into it. Now I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to do my chains a little bit looser so that I can get my stitches inside there easily. And I'm going to skip the first 2 chains, the first 2 chains from my hook, and I'm going to go into the 3rd chain. I'm going to put a double crochet inside of that, like so. And now I'm going to put a half double crochet, so into the 2nd one right here. And instead of going through both, we're going to go through all 3 like so. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the final chain there. Now we're going to go into the 2nd stitch from there. We're going to chain into that, and we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chains inside, and we're going to repeat the same thing for the second fin. We created our first fin, so now we're going to skip the first 2 chains. We're going to go inside there, make a double crochet inside of it. We're going to go into the next chain, so the second chain you ever made for this set of chains. And we're going to put a half double crochet there, and we're going to chain slip stitch into the first chain. Trying not to split our yarn all while we're at it. Into the third stitch on our 9th row, we're going to just do a quick little slip stitch, and we're going to cut our yarn. We are all done using the mint until we get to our little fins. So keep it on standby, but we don't need that for now. We're going to just pull that through, and now we've got our little tiny little fins. So what I do in order to make this look more seamless is I'm going to take my white yarn, I'm going to put it inside my yarn ball right there, and I'm going to leave a small tail, probably about 2 inches long, and we're going to now go into the back stitches of our tail. So here we're going to go into the back post of our 8th round, essentially. I'm going to attach my yarn into the back stitch behind the tail, because I find that this makes it so that it's seamless, and I'm going to slip stitch it through. And I'm going to do a quick little single crochet. You want to have 30 stitches. I just split my yarn. You're working through only the back stitch here. So I'll show you how you go about this. Instead of going through both like so, you're putting it through both, you're only going to go through the back of the stitch. It's back loop only, BLO, and we're going to go through only the back loop. So BLO for the next 30 stitches as we keep going around. And also trying not to split our yarn every single time. That was a terrible sound. Alright, so hold on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 28. It's a little trickier as you get back over here. So we're at 29. And you may have to go through the stitch behind the tail to get to your 30. And now we're going to go into the first stitch from that round and go 1, 2, 3. We had 30 stitches, and now we're going to try to decrease these. We're going into decreasing rounds because that's how it goes almost immediately flat on the belly. So I single crochet 3, and now I'm going to single crochet 2 together. So what I do to do that, in order to make it pretty much invisible, is I'm going to go through with my hook into my 4th stitch. I'm going to keep it there, and then go take my hook and put it through the 5th stitch as well, and then pull through and single crochet like normal for the rest of the way. So I'll show you again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th. You've got 2 loops on your hook right there, and you're going to pull your yarn through it and then single crochet the rest of the way. So keep going with that until you get back to your start. 2, 3, 4, 5 together, single crochet. This is called single crocheting 2 together. This is just a simple decrease. I like how this looks. It's a bit more seamless. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nope, split my yarn. I'm gonna take my hook out. There we go. 1, 4, and 5. Are you kidding me? 4 and 5 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't bother with a tail at this point just because my actual whale tail kind of acts as a marker for my work. 1, 2, 3, and then I should only have this last back part here, 4 and 5 together. And now I can continue on my first stitch. Markers right there. Super easy. I'm actually going to take this out and just tuck it in. So here we're going to decrease again one more round. Don't forget to put on your eyes. So usually I decrease one more time and then I'll put on my eyes. So how I do that next is I'm going to go another 6 stitches decreased. I'm basically just doing the inverse of how I increased over here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and now on our 3rd and 4th stitch, because we already got rid of 6 from the previous round, we're taking 1 out from the center. 1, 2, 3, oh, whoops, 3 and 4. You get ahead of yourself sometimes. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Eek. 3 and 4. Like so. I like to pull my tail a little bit. I'll pull my loop so that it won't get stuck, like so. And I like to apply my eyes by sticking my crochet hook. This is just as a marker so I can figure out where I am, through the center. And then I try to center my eyes 4 stitches away from my center then. I find that that makes it super duper easy. I can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I place it inside between the 7th and 8th stitch there. I also don't put my backings on until I know that they're exactly where I want them to be. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to place it right there. I think that that's perfect. They're perfectly spaced. So now I'm going to take my crochet hook out from spacing it, so it's just not in the way, and I'm going to take my backings and I'm going to snap them on. I always forget to put eyes on, so I always am just like super paranoid about it, because I hate having to try. I sew up and I finish off my little guy, and then he has no eyeballs. So it's a rough life being, you know, an Amigurumi person. At this point, I also start stuffing it a little bit, because we're going to start, you know, closing him up. We only have about 3 more rounds. No, 2 more rounds until he is done. So I'm going to stuff. I always focus on kind of getting the yarn polyfill around the eyeballs, just because it makes it a little less pokey overall. I actually ran out of polyfill from my 5-pound box, so I kind of just want to show off like my 20-pound box of polyfill. It's huge and I'm in love, and I'm terrified, honestly, with I don't even know where I'm gonna put it. I need like a giant basket to put it all in, because I know the second that I open it, if I actually open up the top, it's just gonna explode and it's gonna go everywhere. So I'm just gonna try to work it from the sides here a little bit and pull it out as I go, so that it's not just the stick that will explode. Alright, so we're gonna put a little bit more in. Eek. There we go, there we go, there we go. I'm gonna stuff some more as I go for finalizing it. Actually, I'm gonna put a little bit more in the center before I start working on my second to last row. Oh my gosh, there's so much space there. It needs to not. Can you just not? Can you be done? There we go. So I'm gonna put it back on my hook. There we go. And with stuff as I go, I'm gonna go around one more time. Here, we're just gonna single crochet 1 and then decrease every single round, because we're gonna go from 18 down to 12. So single crochet 1 and then go through 2 and 3. It's gonna be harder to show you as I continue to close up, because he starts rounding out. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, wait, 1, 2, and 3. So now we're down to 12 stitches all the way across, and now I'm going to continue to firm out, push out, squish out his little fluffy body, and I'm going to keep on stuffing as I go. There we go. And then you can kind of flatten it out as you go. There's still a hole there, so I'm going to do my final one where I'm decreasing every single round, doing it the way that I was showing with our little decreases. We're going to go through each and every stitch and not like so, and then just decrease it until we're down to 6 stitches. When we're down to 6 stitches, I'll show you how I feed it through the final stitches, and that closes it up completely. So I just did 3, and I'm going to double check to make sure that I can't, yeah, there's still a little bit of space there. So we're going to do this. Like, yeah, it feels like just a giant hole. There we go. He needs to feel flat. Yeah, he's good now. That's how our whale needs to feel. Nice and full. So I went through those 2 stitches. 4. It's my 4th decrease. Bit of a technical glitch there. I lost some of my power. Alright, so 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I only have 1 more. So I'm going to do 1 more decrease. Now we're down to 6 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch there, do a quick little chain, and then I'm going to cut my yarn. Now that it's cut, I'm going to pull my tail through, and I'm going to take my hook, put it through front into the back, and take my tail and pull it through on each of these stitches. 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. I like to then tug my tail, and it closes it up perfect. To see, you can't even see the tail anymore. So I'm going to take my darning needle, and I'm going to feed it through the center. I'm going to take this and feed it through the center. That way it's just done and taken care of and hidden. And now your bottom is all done. Next I'm going to show you how to do the fins after I tuck in some of these tails real quick. I just want to make sure that they're all hidden and cut. So I like to go underneath the stitch here for this one and just feed it through the top, same as the other one here. Alright, I'm going to cut these real quick. Alright, so now we're going to set aside the white until we need to do our little horn. We're going to pick up our mint yarn again. We're going to basically work on our little fins, and the way that I do that is I take my yarn, and all these little back loops here are fair game. If you want your fin to look a little bit like it's going further back or closer to the eye, you can. I like to center it like so. So I'm like right in the center between my fin and my eyeball. I'm going to take my yarn and make a about 2-inch to 3-inch tail, and just pick up my yarn and pull it through my back loop into a chain. I chain 1, I go back into that loop and single crochet 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I slip stitch back into it and then cut my tail. I repeat this for the other side as well, and then I just tuck in all my tails. So again, I'll show you that again. Make it nice and even between the tail and the eye. Pick up your yarn at about 3 inches right there. Pick it up and slip into your back loop, chain, and then place 4 single crochet inside of that same loop. 2, 3, 4, and then slip stitch, chain, and then cut, pulling that through. I'm then going to take my darning needle and just kind of feed my tails through the center. I like to go underneath the back loop right there, so I'm going underneath the fin, and then I'm feeding it right through the top. And then I kind of just pull on it and let it do its thing. So that's essentially all you need to do in order to create your whale. I feel like this was maybe a little bit more representative of how I actually make the whale, and a little bit more focused, just a little bit. I have a better background for this video, so we'll see if people have less complaints for this video. We are all done with the mint yarn, and now we're gonna pull out our white yarn and we're gonna work next on our little horn after I finish tucking in all my tails and hiding them and cutting them off. So I'm almost done with that. I always kind of like pull on my tails a little bit before cutting them, that way the yarn doesn't stick out. So I pull on it and cut it off that way. That way it's just, it goes right back into it. You can't see where the tail is, and that's all there is to this cute little whale. Next we're going to, and this is in a separate piece, create our narwhal horn. So the way that we go about that is we're going to continue and make our magic ring essentially. So we're going to make our slip knot with our white yarn. We're going to place our crochet hook on there. I don't need that long of a tail. I don't know why I made that long of a tail. Here, I'll make it half that size. That way I cut less in the long run. You don't need that long of a tail for your start here. And you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then for the first chain, not your second, you're going to skip your second chain. You're going to go into your first and you're going to make 5 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and going into the loop 5. I pull on my tail just a little bit, but not all the way. It makes it a lot harder if I like close it, really close it. For our second round, not our foundation round, we're going to single crochet into all the stitches except for the last one. So we're going to go back just like we did originally on our piece here. We're going to start working in the round. We're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on our 5th single crochet here, we're going to do an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll notice that it's kind of going in on itself. You're going to want to flip that out as you go, and then our last stitch here, we're going to place 2 single crochets inside that 1 stitch. So we're going from 5 stitches to 6. And we're going to flip it the right way. And we're actually going to do the same thing on round 3. So not foundation round 1. This is round 2. We're working on round 3 now. We're going to single crochet 6 and then increase on our 6th stitch. Or actually, we're going to single crochet 5 and then increase 6 and 7. So 1, 2. I'm going to post a pattern for this as well somewhere out and about here. Wait, where is it? 3. This is tricky because it's so small. 4, 5, and then this is our 6th stitch, which is then going to be turning into an increase stitch here. So 6 and 7 go into the last stitch here. I like to take my tail at this point because I don't want to do it on the first one. It's a little bit too hard to get the tail back out if I do it on that one. And now I just single crochet around for 2 rounds. So this is 7 stitches, which I'm going to go around twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you want a less protruding horn, you can go less. It will just look like a little tiny horn, like so. But I like it a little bit longer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Next, I just slip stitch into the first stitch of our next round and slip stitch off. I'm going to create a pretty decent 6 to 8 inch long tail. Pull that through. I'm going to take my tail out just because I don't like it just sitting out there. And I'm going to pull it to the bottom. I'm going to cut it so that it's the length of my horn and it's just out of there. And I'm going to now sew this onto the head. So I'm going to take my little guy here. I'm going to figure out where I think my center is by placing it kind of on there however I want it. I'm going to place my needle through like so. But not wrap it around the tail. Don't do that. We're going to go through up, top, through like so on the stitch. This creates an invisible seam, I find. And then I push it through. I just kind of sew it around between stitches. Up and through again. Trying to go around in the circumference of where I'd want the horn, essentially. You can stuff it just slightly if you want. I find that there's not really a need. I find that it sticks up fairly well. Given the Vannas, you might want to try to stuff it if you use a different type of yarn. I don't find the need to, so I don't, personally. But that's because I'm using Vannas, and that's just why. It's a very thick yarn, so I don't really find the need to have to do that. So now I've reached my last little stitch there, and I'm going to feed it through its belly, pull my tail through, and that is my horn. It's nice and pointy and cute, and I love it. He's very adorable, and I'm very happy with how he turned out. I'm actually probably going to do a larger version of this if anybody is interested. I'm also going to be posting a hat pattern, which I'm going to be doing, which I'm really excited about. I found this gorgeous yarn over at Hobby Lobby. It's got so many different colors, and then they had like a bunch of pom-poms, which I am very excited about. Look at these pom-poms and how pretty they are, and just there's this really pretty gray one, and they were really cheap. Oh wait, these pom-poms weren't at Hobby Lobby. The yarn was, but these were over at Joann's. And they're really pretty, and I love how they've got like this dark texture to them on top. Can't really see. There we go. So it's got like this dark texturing throughout all of them. So I'm probably going to use, I don't know, what do you guys think? There's this one which is like a pinkish, a gray, and then there's like this taupey one, and then I'm in love with this maroonish one to go in my fall hat. I'm going to do a slouchy beanie for a knitting pattern because I don't have nearly enough knitting patterns on my channel, so I'm probably going to do this pom-pom with this yarn. It actually shows a lot better on the actual skein itself, so it like kind of goes with this color that's on there. It'll be really pretty. So let me know what color pom-pom you think it should be down in the comments. I'm pretty excited. But that's all there really is to my little whale. I love how they turned out. They're super cute and very easy to do. I hope that this is a bit easier than my original pattern tutorial for the whale. I went a little bit slower and kind of explained things a little bit differently, so I hope that that helps out. Thank you for watching this video, and before we go, I would like to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. I have one on there named Saffron, who is awesome. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to grow as a channel, so thank you for your generous pledge. If you're interested in supporting our channel, you can go to patreon.com/knit and you can see the different rewards we have for our patrons there. Patrons there. Free patterns, early access to tutorials, more. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell before you leave if you want to see more videos like this. I'm going to be doing a lot more cute things, so until next time, guys. Bye!